be looking at the Yamaha EMT one. I'll be running through the functions, which are fairly straightforward, and giving you some idea of what the unit sounds like. As usual, if you'd like to support the channel, then you can check out my work on Bandcamp and various streaming services. So that's that for now. So let's get to it. So I think this one should be quite quick because the Yamaha EMT1 is actually a very simple device. I think the idea really was just to get some basic voices up for when you're writing a track. But anyway, I saw one of these come up on eBay and I thought, oh, it looks interesting. It's probably not going to sound particularly good, but I quite like the limitations of little boxes like this. So I thought I'd check it out. Now, basically, the architecture seems to be FM, probably 4-operator, and it's all presets, but there is a certain amount of adjustability involved, which does throw up some kind of interesting sounds. I'm going to go through those. I'm not going to do a full sound demo in this one. I just want to show how it works so that you've got some idea, and then maybe I'll do a sound demo as a separate video at some point. So let's go through it. It's a very simple front panel. The way I've got it set up is I've got the accompanying reverb unit, EME1, and that's just simply because, well, most synths these days come with some sort of effects, so it seems a little unreasonable to not put some kind of effects. I'm not going to play with those effects on this. It's just going to have a standard hall reverb, so it will have the same effect on everything. It just makes it sound a little less rubbish, shall we say. There's no display telling you exactly what you've got. You have to use the LEDs. It's not that hard though. So basically you have rows of LEDs vertically and then another 4 horizontally, and these tell you which preset you're actually using. So at the moment it's on brass because it's the top LED and it's the one to the left. Now if I press that brass button again, you'll see the LED is now switched down and it's in line with the bottom row, which is the strings. So there we go, brass, strings. Now once it's on that row, it stays on that row. So if I go along to the next one, we're actually looking at violin, pipe organ. This is not actually too bad a sound. Piano. And then we can switch back for the clarinet. So I have to press piano and then it goes. I suppose the thing with it is it reminds me of when the BBC Radiophonic Workshop got hold of FM synthesizers, and quite often their sounds were a little bit like this, and they used them in Doctor Who and stuff, and it was fine for its time, but the FM is very dry sounding, has its place, but yeah, don't expect anything spectacular from this. Now let's go over to the more interesting part of this, and that is these buttons over here. I'll just read them out if I can. Yeah, so we've got bright, fast, mellow and slow. So let me see if I can pick a good choice on this one. The electric piano. When there's no LEDs on at all, then it means that it's at its default state. Right, but then we can make them brighter. Now, what you'll notice there is there's actually 2 levels. So I take it back to the beginning again. Brighter. And there's quite a lot of difference going on there. Although there's only one LED, it'd be quite nice if there was 2, because then you could see that there's actually 2 levels of brightness that you can go. There isn't a one beyond that, unfortunately. So go back to the middle, and then with fast, and again you can hear quite a lot of difference there. Back to the middle. Quite soft, it's not percussive at all now. And it's, the piano-like sound has completely gone. So let's try the mellow. It's already pretty mellow. It's the nearest that you've got to any sort of programmability. The fast and slow is changing the envelope, and then the mellow and bright is changing the tonal characteristics, and I think it really is changing the way the operators interact, as opposed to any sort of tone control or anything like that. So you are getting genuinely different sounds. Now I can demonstrate that probably best by going over to the drums. Let's go to the fast. It's very FM sounding, and there's a lot of contrast there. One of the things I found quite useful when trying to create some kind of drum kit was not to forget the actual keyboard itself, and that the bass sounds are very different from ones at the top, so you can actually get quite a lot of different sounds just using this drum. And I think in terms of a sample source, it may have its uses. It depends on what you want to do. So let's explore some more of these other sounds. So I've got it on fast. Now the thing is, although you can't say have mellow and bright on at the same time, you can have fast and mellow on at the same time. That doesn't even sound like a drum anymore. So let's go the other way. And one more. Okay, let's try bright and slow. Interestingly enough, I think that's the most drum-like thing that we've heard so far. A bit more squelchy. We're back in the radiophonic workshop in the early 1980s. So possibility for hi-hats there. I think that's where I grabbed those sounds. Why did I bother getting this, and what have I done with it? Well, I suppose the project that I undertook was using both the reverb and the sound unit itself. I like to challenge myself when it comes to these boxes. Can I get a reasonable track out of this or not? Sometimes I have to go for accompaniment, like I might have a separate drum machine and just use a synth to do something. And funnily enough, when I was doing something similar with the D10, while I was able to get a lot of sounds which were used on that particular track, I had to give in and start using other sounds. But oddly enough, with this one, I didn't have to do that. I knew that the character of the track was going to be cheesy sounds, and there's no shortage of cheesy sounds. So problem solved. I think there's a lot more I could do with it, and maybe I'll come back and do another track. I'll keep it on the shelf. It's not worth a great deal of money. Yeah, for anyone that's exploring this, don't expect too much. But at the same time, if you want to challenge yourself to work with basic sounds, take it as a project, something like a chiptune project. That this could be a good way to do it. I wouldn't pay more than £50 for one of these boxes. Anyway, I don't think there's too much more to cover. As I said, I might do a sounds demo. I'm not sure. I'll give that some thought. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Hopefully catch you on the next video. Bye.
There's a quiet kind of truth that only solitude can reveal. The noise of others in fast forward, while you remain in slow motion. A slamming door. An angry exchange. An overwhelming need for silence.